Good morning and welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. Today we're starting with a significant development in the ongoing conflict in Sudan. The United States has imposed sanctions on several companies and individuals accused of recruiting former Colombian military personnel to fight on behalf of a paramilitary group in Sudan. According to reports from the Treasury Department, hundreds of former Colombian soldiers have been deployed to Sudan since 2024 to assist the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, in combat and technical roles. The U.S. has accused the RSF of carrying out numerous human rights abuses, including summary executions, ethnically motivated attacks, and torture. The sanctions target 5 companies and individuals, including a Colombian employment agency and its manager, as well as the owner and manager of a recruiting company. All properties and interests of the designated people and companies in the United States are now blocked. This move by the U.S. is aimed at putting pressure on the Sudanese government army and the RSF to accept a 3-month humanitarian truce without conditions. The conflict has created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with over 34 million people in need of assistance, according to the UN. It's worth noting that an international conference held earlier this week produced pledges of over $1.77 billion in humanitarian aid for Sudan. However, the global focus has been diverted in recent times towards other conflicts, such as the war in Ukraine and the conflict in Iran. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the situation in Sudan remains dire, and the international community is taking steps to try and alleviate the suffering of the Sudanese people. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're diving into the latest developments in international relations as a potential deal between the U.S. and Iran seems to be taking shape. According to recent reports, Iranian officials have announced that the Strait of Hormuz will remain open, allowing for the safe passage of oil tankers and other vessels. This move has sparked a significant drop in oil prices, with fuel and natural gas prices also experiencing a decline. The U.S. and Iran have been engaged in talks, with President Trump stating that most of the main points in their discussions have been finalized. However, he denied that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds, a key demand from Tehran. Instead, Trump hinted at the possibility of a blockade if an agreement is not reached. It's essential to note that this potential deal is still fragile and limited in scope. Many analysts remain skeptical about the likelihood of a lasting peace, given the complexities of the conflict. The situation in Lebanon also remains volatile, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stating that the military has not yet finished the job against Hezbollah. As we continue to monitor these developments, it's crucial to consider multiple perspectives and avoid jumping to conclusions. The U.S.-Iran talks are a separate entity from the Lebanon ceasefire, and it's unclear how these two situations will unfold in the coming days and weeks. We'll be keeping a close eye on these events as they progress. For now, it's clear that the international community is holding its breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution to these conflicts. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, let's take a look at the latest developments in international news. We have a fascinating story coming out of the United States and Iran, where tensions have been escalating over the past few days. According to reports from Foreign Policy, the U.S. and Iran are navigating a complex web of diplomatic relations with the recent renewal of Section 702, a surveillance law that allows the U.S. government to collect data on foreign nationals, sparking controversy and debate. In related news, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing calls to resign over his handling of the appointment of former diplomat Peter Mandelson, who was found to have maintained close ties with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Starmer has apologized and launched an investigation, but opposition leaders are questioning his transparency and accountability. Meanwhile, in Bulgaria, voters are preparing to head to the polls for snap parliamentary elections on Sunday. The country has a history of unstable coalition governments, and this latest vote is expected to be closely contested. We'll be keeping a close eye on these developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. It's also worth noting that the story of an escaped wolf in South Korea has captured the hearts of many, with the 2-year-old animal being safely recaptured after a 9-day search operation. And in other news, Hungary's Fidesz party suffered a historic defeat in recent elections, offering lessons for politicians around the world. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.